Hello, everyone. I like to say hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. I've got Rue with me, helping me to ground, to get settled for what is going to be an extra special show. And so it took a little bit of extra time to get ready for this one because it's kind of I don't even know if emotional is the right word, but we're going to dive into all of it tonight. We're going to dive into my two NDEs. We're going to dive into a third substantial event that happened after the two NDEs, what I call the trifecta or the festivities. But first, a few important thoughts. One, if your energy is off the charts today, if you're emotional, if you're a hot, bothered mess, if you're any of these things, understand that there is an electrical storm coming from the sun. We call it a geomagnetic storm. They predicted would be a G1 or G2 out of a class rating of about 5. And that it would be pretty mild yesterday and today. And it turns out it's a G4 plus. It's the level that can kill satellites, drop off electrical grids. Thankfully, I don't believe any of this stuff has happened, but certainly can make us feel much weirder than a full moon. And that's what we've gotten today or got today. So if you're feeling a little bit off your A game, it's not you. I just want you to be aware of that. So Rue has been yesterday, he was like, I know you're a little bit calmer today. You're doing great. And baby Hannah seems to today have either an on or an off switch. She is absolutely amazing. In fact, I got to tell you, and I told everybody in the newsletter, dailywoohoo.com. You want to sign up, dailywoohoo.com. She took her first steps on Friday. I mean, she's been walking with our hands, but she took her first steps on Friday. I would have been totally in tears, but I was reaching for the camera as quickly as I could. And I was just on the inside, you get these amazing tears of joy. And then when I wrote it in the newsletter today, I was bawling. I was a mess. So it was too cool to see. And it all goes back to these NDEs as well. So we're going to go there tonight. Last thing, if you didn't catch Mitch Horowitz's show on prayer on Thursday, you got to check it out. If you did check it out, if you were live there in the chat, first off, Aya, super moderator extraordinaire, did a miraculous job of balancing things in the chat room. And secondly, you did great at bringing light, at bringing love, at bringing balance, and bringing openness, and bringing understanding. You guys rock. You're the best audience in the world. Audience isn't even a fair term. You're the best family in the world. That's a much better term, because certainly if that had been a family discussion, things could fall apart like on a Thanksgiving. And you guys did great. So thank you. I think Sarah's saying, anybody else think their meds were off yesterday? Yes, Sarah. The whole world felt like their meds were off yesterday and today. And most people have not known why. And it is, we're creatures of the sun. I mean, literally every atom in our being came from the sun, which means if you subscribe to things like cosmic string theory or the idea that everything is birthed from the same place in the same time, we are the sun. And so if the sun is having a solar storm, guess what's happening inside each and every one of us? Hello. So Rue, I'm going to put you on your perch behind me. I've got Henrietta here with you. I think she shows up a little bit on camera, and I'm going to dive into everything NDE and what I heard and what I learned, what the angels told me. A last note, on Thursday on Mitch Horowitz's show, he got real energized and people were commenting, maybe it was the background, maybe it was Mitch's energy, maybe it was the topic. Well, it turns out it was baby Hannah crying in the other room and none of us could hear it, but Rue was sounding the alarm and sounding the alert because that's his job. His job is to look out for his there we go, flock, and in particular, his baby chick, and that is Hannah Bear. So Rue, good boy. Is it all right if I put you on your perch here, and then we're going to dive into things nice and gentle and easy? How's that say? Nice and gentle and easy. All right. And yeah, and I don't need to have the headset on. And my hair definitely looks like there's been a nice geomagnetic storm today. How does it get any better than this? All right. I'm feeling grounded. Are you feeling a little more grounded? I'm going to do our best. In fact, let's take a few deep breaths together because I want to ground everybody because this energy, Veronica saying this morning, everyone was screaming at her for no reason. Yeah, it turns out everybody's been a bit scrambled, Veronica. So let's do this. Let's take a nice deep breath. I think I'm going to sneeze in a second, which will make this interesting. Am I going to sneeze? Yeah, I probably am going to sneeze. Go to take a deep breath and sneeze instead. I know, Rue. Let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose, down to the belly, out through the nose, in through the nose, down to the belly, and out. One more time. In and out. In and out. And yes, we will do a meditation just before the end to get you grounded here today. And then there is, I don't even know what we call it, something that was created with the music of Sean Simmons, a dear, dear, dear friend of mine. And I think Jessica, I'm not sure, I think Jessica put together the video for this. There's a video about my second NDE. I can't even watch it. There is no chance I can watch this thing. But Bhavik, who's our producer here, is an amazing Dream Team member. He will put that video on. No, I'm not choking up. I think I just need water. He will put that video on at the very, very end. All right, Russo, you're nice and wow. He has gone completely grounded here. However, you're such a grounding presence. I'm not sure I'm going to actually run the show here with you in my arms. So do you mind if I put you on your perch, good boy? All right, let's do that. I know. I know. Here we go. Right here. Oh, yeah. As an aside, he did today I think he took the energy of the sun. He did his highest flight ever, somewhere between 15 and 20 feet, literally off of the ground, which is mind blowing to me, but that's what he wanted to do when we go out the door for him to use the facilities at any point in the day, and particularly in the morning. There's a drop off to the little dog park or rooster park down below. And instead of going off down into the park, he went up. I'm going, oh God, is he going to stick the landing? And the first time today, it was kind of rough. And the second time today, he went bigger and he stuck it. He would have gotten about tens from the Olympic judges, but maybe with the height involved, he got tens. And then we run the dock. We have about a tenth of a mile each way dock. And he did his fastest run on the dock this afternoon, which was just wild how fast he went. How fast does he go? I'm not a sprinter when it comes to running. I am a sprinter, as among other things, as a cyclist, but I'm not a slouch. And he kept up with me step for step. And he's a very gentle rooster. But when he's running, if he catches you, who knows? And he's doing everything in his power to catch Daddy. And I'm going, ah. It was really funny. All right. Okay. And yes, migraines, yes, that is definitely part of the energy here today. All right, let's dive into it. I have honored my team by saying if there are questions that come up that are really important that we discuss while I'm going through things, we can do that. If not, we'll keep the questions to the end. But I have always shared little snippets of my NDEs during shows and always focused on other people's journeys. So this is kind of new and unique, and we'll see where I go. I try to take notes for shows. Angels and Guides would not let me take very good notes on this show. They said, you've got this, Michael, just speak from the heart. So let's go back in time. Let's go back to April 2nd, 2006. I was training for, I had done, okay, we'll go back a year or two before that. 2004, I'd done a 5,000 mile solo unsupported bike ride across the country. to help people with learning disabilities and attention deficit disorder. I was then sponsored by Rollerblade. I've been a professional level cyclist and also an Olympic Training Center trained speed skater, although admittedly not that great, but decent enough to get to the Olympic Training Center. And I was sponsored by Rollerblade to do a 4,000-mile, 40-day world record skate across the country in the summer of 2006. Sponsored by them. I also was working with an EV group. I was very much into electric cars even back then. I was really excited for this, and I was super nervous. Am I going to be all right? Am I going to be safe? Am I going to be able to make it? Are my feet going to hold together? All of these questions coming to mind. Now, the bike ride I did, I'm going to put these on because Jessica is getting to do baby prep in the background. So this helps me ground and get centered here. The bike ride in 2004 had been solo and unsupported. And that was a very, very spiritual experience for me. And I've never been scared of the dark since then. I've always felt that God, spirit, universe, angels was by my side. And that was a life changer. I didn't have, though, I was off track. Let's be honest. I was off track coming into the event in 2006, and I don't believe it was supposed to happen. And I was training hard. I was training well. I wasn't sure my feet were ready for it. I had been Mr. Plantar fasciitis up till that point. But there was this part of me that came out of that bike ride. And I can remember in the bike ride, my knees are swollen and they're in pain. And I'm going, I will martyr myself for other people. If you ever say you're going to martyr yourself for other people, please stop cold. There's something off there. 2006, I felt like I was doing the same thing. I was pushing, I was driving, I was striving. It was ostensibly to help others, but I was hurting myself in the process. And I've never really said that to anybody. But this isn't me speaking. I do a co-creative process when I'm doing this. And so I've got the angels going in my head right now, and they're saying, be honest. You were scared. You were out of alignment. You were pushing. You were driving too hard. And so I remember on April 2nd, 2006, I was skating on a bike path in Boulder, Colorado, where I had moved from Fort Collins because it was a safer place to train. Hello. And I'd been listening to an audiobook by Dr. Wayne Dyer, the book Inspiration. And he was talking about how everything in life happens for a reason. And he had just been sharing a story about I think it was a yellow butterfly. And at that point, my company, Creative Learning Institute, which has helped students and adults with learning disabilities and attention deficit disorder, was coaching back then. It was a indigo or purple butterfly. So it was very appropriate, very good story. Everything in life happens for a reason. I finish a skate. I'm at the end of a Boulder Creek bike path, which is a creek. And I take off my skates. My feet are really hot. And I put them in the Boulder Creek, and I joke about, steam coming up off of the water. And there I sat in a rock, water all around me, and I got centered, and I prayed for safety and guidance for the upcoming journey. I meditated and I prayed for safety and guidance. Be careful what you wish for. I didn't know how I was going to make the journey, and here I am praying for safety and guidance. I get out of the water, I lace up my skates, and I go, I remember consciously saying to myself, go slow, Michael. It's a Sunday. It's a little bit later in the morning. Tourists are going to be out on the bike path now. So it's very conscious. Let's go slow. I pushed off. I started skating, went, 100 yards. It banks to a left-hand turn by a parking lot, just a tiny little downhill. And I round the bend, and a father had just parked his car, I guess, and had stepped out onto the bike path. I don't think he knew it was a bike path, while teaching his baby, his toddler. It's how appropriate to have this talk today. This is an ooga booga synchronicity. Teaching his baby. Oh, that's mind blower. That's a mind blower because that's what we've been doing with Hannah Bear. Sorry, this is a mind blower to me. I can't believe I'm talking about this conversation right now after I just told you that baby Hannah is learning how to walk. He was teaching his baby how to walk and stepped out right in front of me. I had a great brake sponsor. I could stop on a dime. I remember a Boulder City bus pulled in front of me off of a downhill on the other side of town in South Boulder, if anybody knows that, by the recreation center there. And I managed to hit my brakes and stop without hitting the back of the bus. And yet it happened so fast. They stepped out so close right in front of me with that baby that you can say I had a choice. In the past, I've said I had a choice. I don't know if anybody has a choice. It seems like the choice was you hit the baby or you hit the deck. And nobody, it's instinctual. You're not going to hit the baby. You're going to do everything in your power not to hit the baby. I don't know how. It felt like a slip. I just threw myself up and back to avoid the baby. I can remember thinking in the air, am I going to be all right? Am I going to be able to continue the skate? And I think before I even finished the thought, wham. Yeah, exactly, Rue. That means he's at alert. He can feel my energy here. I've done a lot of clearing work, so I can handle talking about it. But I hit the deck. I can't tell you I had a tunnel from that experience. I can't tell you that I met God or met the angels on a conscious level. And I've had lots of talks with all the leading experts in the world. I'm trying to remember. There's one in particular, a woman, about near-death experiences and how you know for sure what you had. And it's check mark, check mark, check mark for me. I hit the deck, and the best way that I can describe it, and yes, bones exploded on impact. And yes, there were shards of of femur, hip was broken too, sticking into the femoral artery that had they gone through, I wouldn't be here today. But what I experienced, the best way to put it is a moment of pure grace. That moment may have been an eternity. I don't know how long I was gone on the other side. I didn't hit my head when the EMTs or the fire department got there. And recently I've been asking, are you sure that that's who showed up? I don't know. I don't know who first came. Although the first recall thing I heard was, did you hit your head? And I'm like, no. There was a moment of grace, of pause, of silence, of no breath, where the Michael who was before was no more. The best way that put it is I died and was gone. Gone. I haven't returned. I am not the person I was on April 2nd, 2006. I can actually probably go back to my Garmin GPS logs and find the exact minute because it actually showed my speed and everything and shows my path when and that I wasn't going fast when it happened. The Michael who was before was gone, was and is and always will be gone. The Michael who was there. So as I came to, the first thing I saw is baby's okay. Dad's okay. I had managed to throw myself up and back. I didn't hit either of them. Would have made an Olympic high jumper proud. I landed on my left hip, rotating to avoid the baby. Exploded femur on impact, hip on impact, arm on impact, old me on impact. Baby's okay. Dad's okay. Toes moved. This is a bonus. Fingers moved. Huge bonus. Sun still shining. And I had the biggest ear to ear grin you've ever seen. I was so happy. Now, a moment later, I realized that something was very, very wrong with my left leg beyond the pain. And something told me to take my left leg and flop it over my right. And I'm convinced that's what saved my life. Whatever angels told me to do that, because if not, the bone was starting to stick through that artery, and I would have bled out in a minute. Sorry if I stutter. I'm back there right now. I'm back there. I've done a lot of clearing, so I don't have all the emotional wounds. I probably still have some. Been working with Judith Richards. Highly recommend her program. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm going to do something about the sound because you've got to hear that. He is so attuned both to my frequency and to baby Hana. Can you hear that? This is what happens when you share a near-death story with your rooster behind you. Is all sorts of things happen. I know, I know, I know, I know. Rue sees visually or sees energetically. And so he's like, what happened to you? It's okay, Rue. It's okay. 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 Yeah, it might be for many people the first time hearing Rue during the show. I'll keep his sound on for a minute. Bless you. and then I'll mute it out. And if he keeps going, I'll have him go to sleep because I don't want Rue to be waking up baby Hana or however it's going. I was so happy. I was so happy, and maybe that will bring Rue back. Or maybe not. It was a moment. Hold him. Okay, Mary. Yes. Rue? All right, Rue. Let's see how we do here. There we go. There we go. There we go. I remember when I had Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, on the show years ago. The one thing that he didn't want to talk about at the time was his near-death experience, and the reason being, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, that you're not that person anymore, and so you don't want to anchor in the old. And so that's probably why I don't talk about it anymore, because we're not trying to anchor in the old. However, and we will have him back on. Hey, where do I want to go with this, Rue? Let's see. How you doing? You doing better? Are you doing better? Wow. I'm gonna double back around, and we're gonna play with this. So we're gonna fast forward ahead. So yeah, let's see. Where do I go with that? I went back. Timeline's getting all muddy in my head. I went back for 7 years to the spot where that happened, put my hand on a tree, right at mighty oak next to where it happened, and gave thanks. And after 7 years, it looked like there was a handprint in the bark of the oak where I would give thanks on April 2nd each year, which is what I consider my new birthday, because it's a new me. Going back to the accident briefly, they carted me away to the hospital. And there I'm talking to the doctor, and I'm all happy and excited. And he said something to the effect of, Michael, I need to get you into surgery right away, or you're going to lose your leg or lose your life. And I was just, what happened was In that moment of grace, I was given so much information, so much of an understanding on the other side of the big picture of us all as one, as what the meaning of life really is, which in one word is love. Love. That doesn't even sound strong enough. The meaning of life is love, plain and simple. I got so much of a higher level perspective, higher level understanding, and I knew I was going to be fine. So the doctor is telling me, I need to get you into surgery. You're going to lose your leg or lose your life. And I'm telling him, don't worry, doc. Everything's going to be all right. It's going to go back together better than you ever expected it would. And when I came to the next day, the doctor came running into the room that I was in. There's a light box, old school light box, where he threw up the x-ray. And he goes, Michael, and this was a very subdued conservative doc. He threw up the x-ray in the light box and he's pointing to it. And he goes, you're never going to believe it. He said, it went back together better than I ever expected it would. So I'm going to fast forward from there. And we can double back around. It was a big picture understanding of existence, of life, of who I am, of who we are on all of these levels. But what I like to say about near-death experiences, and I don't know if Bhavik has a bleep key here or if we need it, integration is a big. You may have had a near-death experience. In fact, they talk about near-death experience. One of the ways you know it's a near-death experience is something like 8 or 9 out of 10 times you lose your partner. Well, I was engaged to a Japanese runner at the time, and she was back in Japan training at the time, and that engagement completely blew up 2.5 weeks later, to where I didn't speak to her for years and never got more than another sentence or two total out of her after that. The life shift. You're not the person you were. You're not the attachments you were. It was wild. So that was April 2nd, 2006. I healed from it. I was told that would be very challenging at best. I was told I probably wouldn't be able to run. I ended up becoming a barefoot runner, writing a book with Jessica, Barefoot Running. That's a whole story to itself. And then in 2013, found myself on Maui with Jessica. We'd just written a book, Barefoot Walking, which our publisher was oddly unsupportive. It was a very weird situation. I was going out on a book tour that I really wasn't supposed to go out on. Oh, we were going to talk about integration as a bitch. Here's the thing. A near-death experience, and they're not cool. They're not like, I want to have one of those, because you can get these learnings, you can get these instant awakenings. A Japanese term is called satori. You can get these moments of awareness and awakening without needing to literally wrap yourself around a tree, so to speak. The challenge with all of these things is that the wiring tends to be the wiring, meaning you have a near-death experience, you understand the big picture on life. However, you're still put back into the meat suit you were once in with the wiring you once had, and neurons that fire together, wire together, which means you have some serious unraveling or unwiring to do, or else you are short-circuiting and you're butting heads with your new self. That's where I was at. I was butting heads with myself. 2013, I went on a book tour that I really shouldn't have gone on. Every single sign blew up beforehand, or was showing us things were blowing up left and right beforehand. In fact, Jessica pulled out of the book tour and said, you're going on it yourself. Book tour went so badly. Barefoot walking tour, broke a foot on tour, had the flu on tour. The RV nearly tipped over on tour, not an exaggeration. In the whole rainforest, in just outside of is it Forks or Twin Forks, Washington. It was a tour that shouldn't have happened. I got back to Colorado with this rental RV. Jessica flew out to rescue me so we could end the tour short and return the RV and get me back to Maui to heal from this journey. We make it to Lake Tahoe. We camp there for a couple days, and then we go on the last day to return the RV. This is, you okay if I put you down over here for now? We're going to try to say this quietly, and we're going to see where we get. And if need be, we're going to have Rue, it's not go to sleep early. It's really his time to go to sleep. But I want to say this calmly for him. May 19th, 2013, 7 years, 1 month, 17 days after that accident. I had told Jessica I wanted to do different things a different way, that it was time for us to make a big shift, and that I was ready to. We ended up meeting a couple that day just outside Lake Tahoe to go for a hike. Oh, I guess we had hiked the day before. And I was backing off of I need to do things a different way. Instead, I felt like I can slay the dragon again. I can keep going. I can push. I can drive. I can force the ship uphill or force the stone uphill. So we went for this hike the next day. And it's fascinating. I remember the day or two before the hike crying. We had gone and parked somewhere where there was these bugs coming out of the water, where we parked the RV, and fish were jumping out at sunset out of the water and catching the bugs and going back into the water. And it was really beautiful. And I just wanted to stay there and just be. But that old wiring inside of me said that you need to get going. You need to drive. You need to push. Pushed us on to Lake Tahoe and was pushing me back on to get this RV back as fast as possible rather than anchor. I mention this because I'm convinced the universe was giving me one last chance to right the ship, so to speak, to stop the old bad habits before it had to step in. And yet my mind went back to driving and striving. So on this last hike, we were driven out of Lake Tahoe, returned to the RV. We found a place that we could hike on the way back. It was called Horsetail Falls. We stopped there. There's a guy with red hair, mirrored red glasses, and reminds me now of like a story about the devil. Forgive me, everybody, for Thursday's show. But he says, oh, you've got to do this hike. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. And so we go hike out by Horsetail Falls, and I'm barefoot, connected to the earth. I remember talking to Jessica and saying morbidly that these stones will be here long since we're ever gone, or something like that. And then we find this falls, which is snowmelt coming off of a cornice of snow down into this watering hole. It's turquoise, clear water. It's amazing, which is 32-degree water coming off of snowmelt. And I went and swam in this hole and swam in this hole and swam in this hole until I'm turning blue. In fact, I lost my glasses in the hole because I kept on going back and was so numb I wasn't even thinking clearly. Could see without my glasses, but not quite as well. Got out of the water the last time. Jessica says, let's call it good. You couldn't get your glasses back. It's okay. She had me put on all my clothes, including some leather-soled moccasins, because she wanted me nice and warm for the hike back. And we start hiking back, and we stop before we have to cross this creek. And I turned to her and say, I want to have kids. I'm ready to have kids. I love you so much. And this was years after we got married, and it was time to have kids. And so we hugged, we embraced, and then she hiked right in front of me. She crossed the creek bed. It wasn't very deep. And then I stepped out onto the creek bed, and I stepped on I stepped out on a pyramid-shaped rock. Sorry, everybody, this is completely unscripted, so it's rough here. I stepped out on a pyramid-shaped rock. Or actually, I guess first I stepped into the water with my leather-soled moccasins. Then I stepped into some sand, and then we stepped onto a rock. You can see where this is going. Probably picking up the ball bearings and putting them right on my moccasin. And then I went flying through the air. And I landed on this pyramid-shaped rock on my right hip, or just below my right hip. and it was like an artillery shell hit my leg and it exploded on impact. And I remember shouting, "Oh no, not again." I get more clearing work to do on this. Wow. It's both bringing tears and I'm smiling because that's how confusing and beautiful of an experience it was. They don't call it near death for nothing. I started getting, I yelled, "Oh no, not again." And then my vision started going in like this. I got a tunnel, but it wasn't like this bright tunnel of light. It was everything else fading away. And I had a choice. I was given a choice to make. It wasn't a booming voice. It was just pure love saying, here's the dealio. And no, that's not the language. There were no words. And yet it was a voice saying, you have a choice. You can go into the sweetness. You can go into the love. It's okay, dear one. You can relax into all of this and let go, and you'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Or you can choose to stick around. I was told literally how long it would take before. I was told it'd be 30 something minutes, like 35 minutes for emergency help to get to you. It'd be an hour before you would be airlifted out. It would be a year of pain, grisly pain for you to recover from this. I was given all of this information. So you can go into pure peace and bliss and love, or you can fight with everything you have to stay here. Now, if anything knows anything about me, I am a lover and a fighter, just not this kind of fighter. You can't tell your wife you want to have kids with her and then go and check out on her. You can. I couldn't do that. I chose door B. But here's the thing. There was no breath. I had stopped breathing. I've written about it before. I don't know if I really said it or not. Let's say this one quietly, shall we, for Rue? Breathe, Michael. Effing breathe. And I had to consciously choose to inhale and exhale, or my body would stop. What I did is I tried to think of how I could keep myself going. And when the EMTs got to me, they found no blood pressure. I shouldn't have been there. What I did is the Lake Tahoe sun, as best as I know, it was the Lake Tahoe sun. It was the brightest, most brilliant light I'd ever seen before. Could it have been on the other side? Maybe, but I'm going to call it the Lake Tahoe sun. I'm breathing in light and sending out love. And breathing in light and sending out love, and breathing in light and sending out love. I never once, for not a single breath until they got me airlifted, could stop breathing, meaning could relax, or I literally would stop breathing. In light, out love, in light, out love. I'm sitting in this creek bed. It's not deep. Bhavik might be showing you images. I can't look. But it was very cold water. That's probably what kept me alive. And every few minutes, or what felt like minutes, I would
just right,
the body would completely rack in pain,
just
electrical jolts throughout the whole body. And if not, I was just holding on in the water, literally, but breathing in light and sending out love. At one point, some people came along. They're first off, Jessica didn't know what to do. She had to give the cell phone to somebody because we were in the outback. Backcountry. I had to give somebody the phone to go run and go high enough to get a signal. But at one point, some people came by, including a pro snowboarder, and I had started singing. So here's the thing. I couldn't breathe on my own. I was having to breathe in light and send out love. And it again was the most joyous, incredible, elative, undescribable experience where to me, I was getting download after download after download after download after download of information. I was understanding, thank you, Lena. I was understanding things at the time that I shouldn't be able to understand. I was getting information that I would unpack days, weeks, months, or even years later. I'm convinced I'm still unpacking stuff from it. I remember singing Jimmy Cliff. I can see clearly now the rain has stopped. do, 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 do. Da, da, da. I was in another place and it worked. It got me to that 35-minute mark. The EMTs got there and they were in a complete and total panic. How much of a panic? Well, later on, the state of California called me and asked, do I want to press charges against the people who had saved my life? Why would I want to press charges? They said because they were recorded saying profanity into the radios at that time. And I'm like, yeah, they were trying to save my life. Apparently, there was a climber nearby who got themselves stuck climbing where they shouldn't be climbing. And they were afraid that if they had to go rescue the climber, I wouldn't last long enough to get me to the hospital. And so they were freaking out. Cool thing. It's a fun little aside because universe is fun. I'm an all natural type of guy. And they come there and they're like, what can we do to help? After they check the blood pressure, they're freaking out. And they're like, what can we do to help? I'm like, give me pain meds. And they're like, we can't, you don't even have a blood pressure. I'm like, give me pain meds. And they're like, okay, we can give you this one little shot of morphine. And I'm like, yes. And I guess it was a firefighter. He goes to get the air out of the thing and he goes, and to the syringe. And all of a sudden you hear from behind him, I've been hit. And it had scored at the other firefighter in the eye. And his eye, he got a lazy eye instantly. I couldn't see it. But I just broke out laughing. And that might have been part of what saved my life. But they were completely freaked out. They got me in one helicopter. Jessica was by my side. Can you imagine if your partner goes through this? I don't know how she went through this experience. I'm very empathic. I don't know how she handled it. I can't even wrap my mind around it. The presence, the strength, the everything. And then they got me in one helicopter and they winched me up and they had to fly me to a second helicopter that had more equipment on it that could stabilize me and get me to the hospital. And so the first helicopter, I'm literally, and if there's not footage here now from Bavek, there will be at the end. Somebody who videotaped me and sent it to us of me dangling outside of this helicopter for this first journey before they put me into the helicopter and could warm me up, wrap me like in aluminum blankets for the second. I have no idea how she held it together for that. None. So let me share the real freaky part, the real cool part, the real interesting part, and then we're going to talk about one more thing, and then we'll open it up to questions. But I'm wrapping my head around as I say this and share this. What are the learnings here? And I think this next part is a huge part of the learning. I didn't come to after the helicopter rides until the next day. I'm in the hospital. I've got 4 or 5 other people's blood keeping me alive. It would be months, I think months before I could really lift my head more than off of the bed. I was so weak. And thank God there was an angel, Denise, who we hadn't even met before this, who let us stay in her house and rearranged her whole house for me to get my blood back and my strength back. The doctor came running in, one of the doctors from surgery. And it wasn't a Michael, you're not going to believe this. It was a Michael, how did you do it? What did I do? He goes, how did you get the x-rays up on your website so fast? X-rays? Doc, what? I just regained consciousness. And he goes, yeah, you've already got the x-rays up on your website. Did your team do that? Did blah, blah, blah. Who did this? What are you talking about? And he pulls out the laptop, he whips it around and he shows me. And I'm like, no, doc, that's not this accident. April 2nd, 2006, left me with a titanium femur, a titanium hip, and some associated wire loop tie hardware things, we'll call them hardware thingies, to hold it all together, and an inch leg length discrepancy. May 19th, 2013, that was in my left leg an inch longer than my right. May 19th, 2013, left me with a matching, identical titanium femur in my right leg, a matching, identical titanium hip on my right side, and identical matching hardware that fooled the doctors on x-ray. That was the exact same as the other side, and no more leg length discrepancy. The doctor said there was absolutely no odds of having the exact same injury in the exact same way with the exact same hardware that even fooled the doctor doing the surgery. I had become perfectly symmetrical. I call it a dowsing rod. And I can see everybody's talking about Jessica. She is my hero. 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 And there is no enough said. When you have synchronicities like this, and we all have, maybe not that big. I can wake up each morning, I can feel my legs. Heck, there is a scar, an incision point from 1/3 of the way up from the knee to the hip that goes all the way up to the hip on both sides of me. I can feel those, that synchronicity, and know that nothing is by accident. Everything has a reason and a purpose behind it. Even the really, really terrible stuff, terrible, but some of it really is terrible. I'm not making light, like making light of a loss. No. Making light of a war. No. Making loss of so many things. No. But in this case, I was given a cosmic reminder that there's a reason behind everything, and it brought me into balance. It brought me into perfect balance. Now, the first NDE, that was a new Michael. That's my new birthday, April 2nd. The second, I guess that would make me, what, 17 now? Yeah, 17, coming up on 18. I'm going to be an adult soon. Woohoo. Actually, technically, I'm sweet 16 for another few. Wait, April 2nd. Nope, I'm 17 now. The second one was a reminder and an understanding of who and what we are, was a reminder and an understanding that there's so much greatness going on behind the scenes, was a reminder and understanding that we are never alone, that we could never be alone, that we are always supported, that we are always loved, even in the most dramatic and challenging of situations. Now, I wish I could say that was the end of it. But there were 3 accidents that occurred that really helped transform me to who I am now. And I've had some boo-boos since then, but nothing like that. 1 year later, I'm still healing. At that point, Jessica and I are making a program. You can find it online, or at least the website, the basics of it, mindfulrunning.org. We're making a mindful running program. How to use body movement to help you meditate and help you plug into spirit. and we were working too hard again. And I was driving Jessica into the ground, and I was driving myself into the ground. The irony being at that time, we were holding space in a meditation for hours, a meditation center for hours a day. But I was lost because, again, you can get these big picture ideas, but then you can go back into your old ruts, your old grooves in the highway. And we had just one day. This is where, when things like this happen, when you have amazing synchronicities, take note. When the timing is crazy, take note. We had just one day left of shooting, and we were done with the program. Now, this is a professional level cyclist. I'm out for a bike ride. I'm thinking about the recording that gets to be done. I was thinking about mindfulness. I was focusing on my breath. I was taking things nice and slow. I was coming down off of the side of the mountain called Haleakala, a volcano on Maui. We lived on Haleakala. And I was at the last few turns before the house. And all of a sudden, the front wheel of the bicycle inexplicably goes up into the air. Best I could come up with at the time is that there was wind, but there was no wind. I don't understand how the front wheel would simply come up into the air and then went whammo down onto the ground with those handlebars and with my head and with the way I hit. I broke all the bones. Thank you so much, Amanda. I broke all the bones in front of my heart. You're amazing too. All the bones behind my heart, all the bones on top of my heart. I broke everything here. I broke everything here, broke everything here. I broke everything right back there. And of course, a mighty concussion to add to it. I was like a block from the house, and I couldn't even figure out how to tell people where I lived. Everything was broken. And that was what it took. We talk about automatic writing, communicating with angels, communicating with guides. All of the good stuff I do now came out of that last accident, which wasn't an NDE, but was the final straw that it took for me to finally get the message. The universe speaks to you quietly at first, then she starts to turn up the volume. Lefty is saying 111 likes. I love it. 111, perfect alignment. She turns up the volume. And the universe was saying, Michael, we get to live from here in a state of perfect trust, in a state of perfect grace. Now, I still have challenges with it today, but not nearly what I had back then. And that cracked me wide open. That was exactly what I needed to shift me and shift us. And soon after that, Jessica had been getting sick and we didn't know it. But soon after that, we were wiped out financially. We were certainly wiped out physically. Jessica was not doing well with her health. We got booted off of Maui. We got to move into Jessica's childhood home in New Jersey. But it was because of that last accident and the combination of all three that I was willing to let go. That's when I started doing automatic writing. If I'm sounding salesy for automatic writing, I'm not at all. You don't need to get it. It's just, I was willing to do whatever it took. I'm going to cry here. Whatever it took after that third situation. First off, to take care of my hero. And I'm glad I'm sharing this with you tonight because I can do even better with my hero. I can be even more patient with her. I can be even more kind and loving with her. She is my hero and she's working her tail off. We both are, but she's working her tail off for baby Hannah like nobody in the world. It allowed me to drop me, allowed me to get humble, allowed me to drop the belief that I knew what the hell I was doing, the belief that I can charge through things, the belief that I can push the stone uphill, the belief in any of this stuff, it got shattered. And it allowed me to come back to who and what I am. And if you get anything from this, and I send this a lot, but if you get anything from this, understand You are love. You are greatness. You are God. You are the divine. You are pure magic. It's the gunk we have in front of us, these obscurations, that's a good Buddhist term, that prevent us from seeing who and what we are. And on that day, these are like ribs. They got cracked wide open. You don't need these cosmic experiences for them to be cracked wide open. Now, I talk in the title of the show. I heard this from the angels. Angels taught me this. It wasn't that they were speaking with words. They were speaking with life events and with the pause between the notes. That moment of grace that might have been an eternity on the other side of the veil for me in April 2nd, 2006, that completely erased who I was. Tabula rasa, cleared the slate, brought in cue the new Michael. And no, it doesn't mean I'm a stand-in. I still had the same quirks, the same idiosyncronicities, the same sense of humor beforehand, even if my memory was very fuzzy. Like I have an MBA and I have a computer degree. Anybody who is on my team will go, you have a computer degree? Yeah, I got a master's in computer. But that was before April 2nd, 2006. It went gone. Oh no. Um, but I don't even know where I was going with that. You can get the big picture. I was saying the one most important thing. You are love. You come from love. You couldn't be anything other than love. You are love. You are love. We're blinded to this. We have so much scar tissue. We have so many ribs blocking the way. And ribs are a good thing. It's interesting. I had many ribs broke after that, but not in the same way, but probably because of that. And then a boo-boo last year. We won't even go there. Many years without boo-boos. We had over 10 years boo-boo free, relatively speaking anyway. The universe wants you to know who and what you are. The universe wants you to know how loved you are. The universe wants you to know how much you are being guided. You are being watched out for. You are being taken care of. Even when my technical term is stuff seems like it's going down. I is going, yeah, except when he stubs his toe. Yeah, the big things since then are stubbing my toe, or I don't know why, but ribs have broken often since that time. It almost seemed like, you know, I would breathe too heavy and break a rib. And that may be just the way that they have healed. You don't need these experiences to know how loved you are. You don't need these experiences to know that someone or something is looking out for you. You don't need these experiences to make a choice to dive into not just life and living your greatest life. And that's what I have for a school of mystics, is teaching you how to live your greatest life in a sense. But you have a choice to live a spirit-driven life, not a life where somebody else, even me, teaches you about spirit, not a life where you read from a book what is spirit, but a life where you stay connected as much as you possibly can. You listen. I don't need these on right now. Jessica's apparently sleeping. You listen with everything that you have. Thank you, Brenda. 2222, the number of co-creation. How does it get any better than this, Brenda? And is also the number twos are the number of stepping forward. So we've got 2222, which means what? It's also the angel number 4. So that's what 444 is, a perfect angel number. So Brenda, you have given us a number that's saying, step forward, co-create, do it with your angels, but step forward with us. That's the biggest message I was getting out of this. This is the message that I am told to share with you. Don't even try to go things alone. Not now, not ever, no matter what. Don't try and go it alone. Why? It hurts, and it hurts badly. And frankly, you don't need that kind of pain. You don't. What you need is pure love. How would things have gone differently for me? It's all divine. It's helped me to be the teacher that I am. So I don't regret it on any level. Would I take it back? Well, I'd certainly like to have not had the pain. Actually, more importantly, I'd like Jessica to have not had the pain that she experienced. Um, but there are simpler and easier ways to learn if you go to loving yourself. And Gabrielle just asked a beautiful question. Gabrielle asked, "What do you do if you're an atheist?" Well, an atheist doesn't atheism doesn't. Yeah, is that a good way to put it? It doesn't mean that you don't believe in energy. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in a field. It doesn't mean that you don't believe that there is something that binds us all together. We just don't have to call it God or source or universe or any of these things. We can simply say that there is an informed field. What does that mean? Well, how do two cells grow into us? Well, there is information. Does the DNA hold all of that information? Could it? It's plugging into a field of energy. And so we can still believe in this field of energy, even if we don't believe in angels or guides or any of that stuff. Heck, I was reading an article today. I'm a physics geek, and I was reading an article about lift of airplanes. And I'm like, why am I reading this? When is this going to come up? So it comes up here. And at the end of the day, scientists are arguing back and forth about how an airplane actually doesn't fall out of the sky. So we can come up with all these laws of gravity, things of this sort, laws of thermodynamics, but it still doesn't explain at the end of the day why the law is the law. Why is it that things don't fall into the sky? Well, because that's not a good enough answer. There is an informed field. Bingo. You just put it well, Gabrielle. The universe didn't create itself. There is an informed field. So it is that field of information that cracked me wide open, that guides us on our journey. And we don't have to label it anything. Jill, I love you. 1111. How does it get any better than this? I love you. I love you. I love you. It's just this field. And this field apparently had a party with me for my highest good and the highest good of all, or something even better. So now I know I didn't answer a lot. I mean, I know that this was a very Swiss cheese method of sharing this with you. It was a very emotional way. So I'm going to open it up to questions here and for at least a little bit. And then we're going to go into a beautiful meditation. And I want to ground everybody here tonight because of the energy that's all around. And I'm guessing that the questions that I get will help answer some of the Swiss cheese holes that came up. Mary, I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. Much love right back your way. And Mary, there are great things we get to do together. It may take a little time, but there are great things we get to do together. All right. So let me go to my document that I usually am going into all the time. And I told my team tonight we might be off, but Rue has calmed down. So apparently I've gotten into this sweet state of energy. All right. So let's start with Elaine. And so I'm not sure if this was NDE 1 or 2, so we can address it both ways. Elaine, were you out cold? Was there a period of nothingness? Elaine, there was a punctuated period of nothingness that to me lasted milliseconds from NDE number 1 and may have been an eternity because time is not, it's not linear, it's not real on the other side. I don't know how long it was, but there was a sorry, that's me going back to the experience. Bear with me. I'm going to be weird here for a minute. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Uriel, higher self, higher team, all angels, God, and light workers here for my highest good and highest good of all. Please help remove any wounds, traumas, blocks, walls, and stuck energy, and energy that is still there from either of my near-death experiences or the cracking open in my ribs, but particularly from April 2nd, 2006, any wounds, traumas, blocks, walls that are still inhabiting themselves inside of me, still keeping my energy from flowing smoothly, still keep me stuck in any old place in time and space. Please help remove these wounds, traumas, blocks, and walls now and forever. Thank you. You can't hear it, but Rue was just making, I'll put his mic there back on sensitive, was just making the love sounds. So what I was doing is, it's something I teach in the School of Mystics, and you can replay this and learn this as well. As I was saying, hey, wait, I found some wounds here. Let's clear them right away. So, still, I can remember flying through the air. I can remember a dull concussive thud. There's a distinct sound of it. And then I can remember, Elaine, silence, nothing. I'm going to call it a moment of infinity. I hadn't hit my head. Helmet intact. That was the question that all the EMTs asked, because I had this beaming ear-to-ear grin. I hadn't hit my head. But there was a moment of pure, now we've got meowsers crying. I'm guessing you can hear that. There was a moment of pure grace and silence and of nothingness. A moment that was both an eternity and lasted for the briefest of moments. The second one was also not hitting my head. That was a longer period. I do not know for how long, as everything zeroed in on me, and it was like, cue the curtains. And those are the curtains on life, or this life, because there is life after life. Denise, I can see the questions coming fast and furious here. Do you think, Michael, that when you crashed on the Tour de France race, as Dolores Cannon might have said, that you could have gone into another plane of existence when the guide waved you on? So I was training or racing in Europe to go to the Tour de France. I didn't get to the Tour de France. And I had a safety official in France wave me into an oncoming car. This was many years before this. This was really 13 years before this, or just about 13 years. I think it was on Father's Day. Oh, it was on Father's Day. Oh, poor Dad. And yeah, I had an accident on Jessica's birthday too. These things are interesting. Did I go to another plane of existence? Definitely not on a conscious level. That accident was what stopped me from pursuing a professional career in Europe. And that accident, briefest terms, after I got hit by the car, I had 7 years of PTSD, probably a lot more than that, but at least 6.5, 7 years after that. I got hit by the car. I thought I was fine. I looked at my leg. I was not quite so fine. It was 90, block your ears here, 90-degree bend in the lower leg. I hit the bony callus yesterday on the end of the bed while I think it was something to do with baby Hana. It wasn't her fault. Oh, it's still there. But I thought after that experience, God is dead, there is no God. And that shows you the evolution of all of us and my evolution. In 93, that happened. I said, God is dead, there is no God. How could this have happened to me? 2006, I'd just been listening to Inspiration by Dr. Wayne Dyer, talking about how everything in life happens for a reason. Here I am, completely broken and may die on the path. And I go, there's a reason for this. It doesn't mean God is dead. In fact, everything is supporting me on my journey. Woohoo. And actually, my woohoo literally came out of April 2nd, 2006. I never woohooed a time in my life before that. In fact, Jessica had to correct me on my spelling when she met me because she said I spelled it like woohoo, WHEWHEW. But my woohoo literally came out of April 2nd, 2006. My honk and Horshack laugh came out of 2013. I'm not going to try to bring out that laugh right now. So I don't know that I went to another plane of existence. I think at that point, I went to, it was a life-shifting event that helped me get into a state of complete and total egoic misery for years until I was ready to dig myself out of that hole. It was an accelerator. Each of these events were an accelerator. That was the most painful accelerator because here's the deal in life. Pain sometimes is required, at least at humanity level 0.0. Hopefully we get to 1.0 soon where it's not required. But right now, pain seems to be required for our learning. Suffering is optional. Suffering is when we attach to a particular outcome. So pain, I got hit by a car racing in Europe, and I didn't know what I do now about healing, or I would have been back in no time. In fact, I did win a race in Europe less than a year later on titanium parts that then came loose in my leg, different titanium parts. They were taken out. Many stories here, many stories. We're not even going to go there. Like how I passed out in a car and totaled it a week after a week after the surgery. That was exactly a year to the day of when I got hit by the car. Yeah, we're not going to go there. But, pain may be required. Suffering, holding on to how things have to be, that's totally optional, under our control and our own choice. Had I gone back to Europe, Hoville was the name of the town, Hightown, where I got hit by the car. Had I gone back to that experience and understood that, I could have saved myself years and years of grief. However, apparently that was for my highest good to understand through that suffering. But if you're watching this, you don't have to suffer. You can let go of whatever way you feel things need to be. Allow the learnings in, allow the love in, and you will elevate your level of consciousness much faster and without the drudgery that I apparently chose to go through at the time. Let's go to a few more questions. These are brilliant questions. From Information Gatherer. What intuitive guidance did I miss regarding passing of someone who took connected energy and cleared more energy issues from me? Was there something more to do for him? Or was it just one more contact and he was going to go? Thank you. Information gatherer. You brought love. That's all that mattered. You brought love. You brought love. You brought love. You brought love. And that is the best thing in the world. So now love yourself up. Allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to heal, but realize you did exactly the right thing. Denise, and I send love your way as well. LV McBride. Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I'm jumping in on the question before I even answer it. Did the NDE change how you perceive things psychically, and if so, how? LV, I wouldn't have said I had a psychic bone in my body before these things. Even after NDE number 1, I was much more energetically sensitive. I remember running around barefoot and saying, in fact, I thought of writing a book at one point, calling it In God's Shoes, about how connecting to the earth changes your perception of things. But I didn't fully get it. it was an evolution that came out of the next decade or more after those experiences that really, the door was open, the seeds were planted, but I had to be able to truly listen. And that started April 2nd. The volume went way up, or my ability to listen went way up 7 years later, went further up a year after that. And I think once my heart was cracked open, that's where my expression kind, gentle, easy, good came from. Universe, I am listening. I don't need any more accidents. Cancel, clear, release. May I please have all my learnings kind, gentle, easy, good. I am listening. I am listening. I am listening. And it is after that last accident, that third in the trifecta, where I was cracked open, that I have taken listening to a whole new level. And I can still listen even deeper and even deeper still. But that's where my automatic writing came out of. And it's a compounding process. The more that you listen to spirit, the more that you're given. The more that you're given, the more you listen. The more you listen, the more you're given. But it doesn't go linearly. It goes up by 10-fold, then it goes up by 100-fold, then it goes up by 1,000-fold. And you're getting more and more information, or able to unpack more and more information, and you become awash with this information. This is why I teach the School of Mystics, to where you're vibrating at a different level. And it's not that you're a different person. It's not that you're not human. It's not that you've hit enlightenment, whatever we want to call that. It just means that you are open to the energies that were always around, and you're able to avail yourself of them now. You are like myself, literally a tuning fork or a dowsing rod, which is literally, if you put me under an X-ray, I am literally a tuning fork or a dowsing rod, not by accident. I have a bell-shaped, if you flip me upside down, I have a bell-shaped tuning fork inside of me. We get to listen. And when you make it a daily practice or part of your life to listen, it comes more and more and more. And you're psychic, and put that in quotes because we're all psychic, but these gifts, these clairs, clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, whatever your clair is, or all of the clairs at once, start to, in a sense, sort of like a chakra opening up, sort of like a kundalini experience where your energy is opening up. They start to pop and open on you because you are ready, and because of the compounding involved. So now from Mary. This is the best question of the evening. And I had just turned the sound back to quiet there, but I don't know if you can see him right now. Well, he's just totally chill now. All right. So the question was from Mary. I wonder if I'm going to call him by his nickname here because I don't want to disturb him. I wonder if Junior had his own NDE just before Michael found him. Maybe that is part of the energy he was feeling tonight. It was definitely a version 1.0 of him and a 2.0. And my guess is, in his own way, there was a lot of prayer involved, because when I found him, he was first he ran across a small Colorado mountain twisty road called a highway, but it was a very narrow road in the mountains. And he was panicked running across, and he's running up and down the side of the road and up and down. And I didn't think I was going to be able to catch him. I thought I was going to witness him transition before my eyes with like a pickup truck going by. It's the scariest thing. And it was 15 minutes of him running up and down on the side of the road before I was able to convince him that if I put a shirt over him and scooped him up, he was going to be okay. Yes, we actually have video. Crazy. We have video called the Ruru Story on our channel, the Ruru Story, of him getting in the car with me the first minute that we got him. Jessica turned the camera on him. And that was in many ways his NDE. That was certainly his life-changing experience. And I believe that his higher self, at the very least, called on assistance and called for him to be there at just that right moment so that he could have his life journey with us, which is apparently exactly where he's supposed to be. So brilliant question, Mary. I'll take a few more questions and we'll go into a meditation. Michael, Ed, did your NDE bring you to the other side? Can you talk about what you saw? Did you go through the tunnel and see the white light? Lisa, this is interesting. And this is what I spoke about with Jessica before the show. And this may be part of why I haven't done a full NDE show. I wasn't gifted with the pyrotechnics. I wasn't gifted with the imagery. I was gifted with the learnings. I was gifted with the energy shift. I was gifted with the new Michael that came back. I was gifted with the pause. I was gifted with the messages, but I wasn't given much of a tunnel. I wasn't given much of light. I was given the, I'm still trying to remember her name, the first NDE guest that we had on the show. Oh, what a firecracker of a woman that was and is. It may come to me in a minute. I was given the profound learnings and teachings without much more than that. Is that the best way to put it? I call it NDE light because of that. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe that. I've got the image of, I got the system reboot of the computer without the computer having to fall off the edge of the building. Did I go through a tunnel? Not on a conscious level. Did I see the light on the other side? I believe I did in Lake Tahoe, but I might not have. Did I completely and totally change in a moment? Oh, God, yeah. I'm sure I would weird out my friends from back then if they ever spoke to me now, because I was a different person, completely different person. So beautiful question, Lisa. And I wish I could tell you that, that I spoke with beings. Well, they did speak to me. That's how come I'm here today. But that I had these long, lengthy conversations. I may have on the other side, that I met with the gates. I will tell you that since then, I have seen myself, and that's through my hypnotherapy, through my past life regression, through my automatic writing. I've seen myself on the other side of the veil. I've seen the decisions I made before I came here this lifetime. I have spoken with the Council of Elders. I've seen me making the choices before the Council of Elders. All these things only came to me after that experience. So if I was to give a last note on it, I was given, and this is what I help people to do, and you don't need to go to me for it. Any enlightenment, and I don't mean that you become enlightened. Maybe you do. I haven't. But any enlightenment, awakening, awareness, satori, samadhi, any of these experiences that we go through, these profound awakening experiences, are the charging of a hotel key. A hotel key is charged when you go in, you pay the money, you show them the ID, they charge your key, ka-tunk, and then you can go and you can go to your door of your room. And as long as that key is good, every time you put in the key, it opens the door. These experiences allow you to then open the door to the other side, open the door to the other side over and over and over and over and over again, Lisa. And you don't need them to come from an NDE. You don't need them to come from being wrapped around a tree. It's why I teach the School of Mystics, to give everybody that hotel key so that you could open to the other side, what I call living on both sides of the veil. And then you get this information without having to wrap yourself around the tree, without having to go through a tunnel, without having to have a complete and total life review, unless you choose to have that. Did I have a life review? Oh, heck yeah. I don't know what it was. I can't see what it was, but the me that came back would make completely and totally different decisions. On April 2nd, the me who came back made completely and totally different decisions than the one just moments or minutes before. It was as if chocolate was the one before and afterwards it was vanilla. And I could tell you why vanilla. And it wasn't. I still love chocolate. I love chocolate smoothie. However, something transpired on the other side where I would make completely, radically different decisions, 180-degree different decisions after I came back. And that's a life review, even if I don't get to or didn't get to consciously remember it. All right, next question. And thank you, Lisa. New Troy. Ask Michael about barefoot helping him to heal. Well, absolutely. So the shortest version of it, New Troy, is a year after. Okay, yeah. So April 2nd, 2006. I'm completely shattered. And I was still supposed to do the skate, blah, 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 skate. And I didn't know if I would get back on skates again. In fact, it took me over a decade or more to get back on skates. However, I was weird, New Troy. I was very weird. I'm trying to even understand why I did it now. I was entered in the Boulder, which was going to be Memorial Day of that year. I think that was like 6 weeks later or something like that. And I ended up crutching the Boulder. Am I kidding? And then I crutched a half marathon a few weeks later. I was nuts. I was absolutely nuts because the old programming was still in there. Um, the body wouldn't let me heal. It wouldn't let me get back on 2 feet. It would not let me get in balance with that inch leg length discrepancy. I was completely, totally out of balance until I heard, you've tried everything else. Why don't you take off your shoes? This is somebody who was Mr. Plantar fasciitis, who wore the orthotics in my slippers to get across the living room floor so my feet wouldn't swell. I had absolutely no business going barefoot, and I heard that you should strip off your shoes. And that's a whole scope outside of tonight. But that's how I healed. That's how I plugged back into Mama Earth. I still go barefoot a lot. I still run barefoot all over the place here. Couldn't do it in the high desert. Couldn't do it in Colorado. But I am barefoot so much of the time now. But that was a huge part of my healing journey. And as Aya can attest here, and she's our super moderator extraordinaire, she brought me over and brought Jessica over to the Philippines and to Singapore, where we even ran a marathon barefoot with a team over there. So that was a huge, actually, the marathon itself was sponsored by Vivo Barefoot. So all of the running clinics I did beforehand were barefoot. I think I actually did I wear, I will tell them better than me, wore Vivo Barefoot for us going for a world record of a team of like 40 people attached together down to 36 people. Story for another day, but barefoot in Southeast Asia. I'm going through the questions because it's late and I don't want to keep us going for too long. Okay, let's see if I can skim through 5 more questions super fast, and then let's get into a meditation. How can we ever have enough clearing, says Elaine. I think there's always levels of clearing. There's always clearings that get to be done. We could spend a lifetime clearing. And it's good to do clearing on a daily basis or every few days if you can. May Appleby, my daughter had an NDE last year around Thanksgiving. My daughter had an NDE. She's doing really well, but she still gets dizzy when she stands up. Is that normal? It might be something medically related. I would certainly get that checked out. It might be something that has to do with a traumatic brain injury, so I would look into that. Or it certainly could still be getting back into equilibrium. A huge reason that, if possible, when it's warm enough, have her spend some time barefoot on the earth. Mary, don't you think our NDEs are forever and always meant to bring hidden treasures, downloads, further enlightenment? Can only imagine what it will be like when we choose not to return. Well, our NDEs are unpacked over our entire lifetime. So I can't say which wisdom I'm getting from my automatic writing and which wisdom I'm getting from particularly the second NDE, when information just coming to me, all of these downloads that are still getting unpacked. And Aya wants me to make sure to mention Thursday's show. And so I'm going to have to pause for a moment. I need help with what Thursday's show is because I am so plugged into where we are tonight. I know it's a beautiful, oh yes. The angels have just told me. It is Megan Sisk, animal communicator, on how we can communicate with our animals on the other side of the veil. So if you've ever had a pet that's transitioned or crossed over or crossed the rainbow bridge, that's what Thursday's show is going to be about. In a sense, it'll be a tearjerker, but it will be tears of joy and of love and of hope and of promise and possibility and of connection. So it's going to be love. 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 And I know that I will share the link for that. Elsa, can this experience be called? And I had NDE seizures and NDEs. Absolutely. I had a seizure. I felt pulled out of my body in the sense that I could see from up to. Yeah. So Elsa, we either call that an NDE or we get wrapped around these labels. That was your awakening experience. That was your hotel key, Elsa. She said, I felt pulled out of my body in the sense that I could see from above, but also through my physical eyes. That is your awakening experience. Is that a near-death experience? It may or may not be. Does it matter? It's all the same good stuff, Elsa. You were given, first off, another chance of life. Hello, that's an NDE. Secondly, you were given a bigger perspective of life. Thirdly, you got to see yourself from a higher vantage point. All things that I was able to get out of this. So yes, Elsa, in very real ways, we can call it an NDE, or we can call it a Elsa 2.0. You have shifted and you have changed, and I encourage you, clearing energy, but to go back to that experience, not to relive the trauma, but to start to feel and lean into the lessons and the learnings that came and continue, as Mary was saying, to come out of it. Veronica, does this not include your accident with the car? So Veronica knows last year I was gifted on Jessica's birthday, the first serious accident I've had since my NDEs, which was getting hit by an SUV while on my bicycle. Oh gosh, golly. And on Jessica's birthday. First off, there was messages on how I get to live my life, to take even better care of Jessica and better care on the family. There were also higher level upgrades that came out of it, spiritual learnings that continue to accelerate things. Did it need to happen? There are nodes on our timeline of big experiences that are meant to take place for our highest good. I don't know if that had to happen or not. I've certainly done everything I could to renegotiate my soul contract. And that's actually next Monday's show. So hadn't even thought I was going to mention it. But next Monday's show is going to be on renegotiating your soul contract. How does it get any better than this? It was a powerful experience. It was a profound experience. It was not an NDE. But when I woke up in the ambulance, it's kind of cool. I found myself in meditation. I saw myself in meditation in a dream state before I woke up. And then I woke up and I found myself saying, thank you, angels. Thank you, guides. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guys. Thank you, angels. Thank you, guys. And that was the work that I've been doing. Gabrielle, we got that. Okay, one last question probably. We've got 3. Can I get through 3 real fast? Janice, what is your life purpose and how do we find our own purpose without such an experience? The reason I'm pausing, Janice, is because we all get a bit, myself, we can get too wrapped up in the, what is my purpose? What do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What's my path? And we could drive ourselves nuts with this thing. So I can tell you what my mission is, but that's not my purpose. My mission is to raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, shift humanity. Raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, shift humanity. And then I can say, while doing this, while doing that, while being the best father, and all of these great, amazing things. But Janice, our purpose of life is, to me, to learn and to love. to learn and to love. We don't actually have to do anything to learn. Now, I'm a 2-2-2-2 kind of guy. Let's make this a co-creative process. Let's lean into all of this. Let's wring the towel and get all the juice out of life that we possibly can. So we're here to learn, and we're here to share love. Love, 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 love. I love you, Denise. I mean it. I love you. I love you. I love you. All of the other stuff is important and is good. And we feel into our hearts and we feel what we are pulled to do. It's a big part of what I teach in the School of Mystics, is helping you to hear from your soul, to hear what your soul is guiding you to do so that you can live that highest vibration life and light. That's great, and that's good, and that's powerful, and that can be really living from the upper room. However, I don't want you to get stuck on the, I'm not living my life purpose, therefore I'm gonna be in that place of suffering. Because you don't have to do anything this lifetime. It's cool, it's good, it's fun, it's awesome. But this is coming from somebody who is an extreme driver and striver, and now I feel I've throttled way back, and truth be told, I get to throttle even more back. But life is not about the doingness, even though I am somebody who has done quite a bit. And so as I'm going through this, Janice, I'm saying, how can I find my way to navigate and throttle back? But at the end of the day, what I am doing right is loving myself up no matter what. And that's what I want you to do. Love yourself up no matter what. Period. Done deal. End of story. And then feel into the pull on your heart. And if you feel called, of course, join the School of Mystics. I will help you on that journey so that you do feel more in alignment and on purpose. But trust me, Janice, even if you feel off, you are exactly off and on exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Last two questions, real fast. Nadine, did you see some of your loved ones waiting for you? Not at that time. However, since then, they continue to come to me in dreams, in visions, in my automatic writing each morning for that matter, and I hear them now. Again, not a booming voice, but I know when Grandma Kramer is with me. I know when any of my loved ones are with me since those experiences. Two more questions have appeared. Did the angels tell you to go vegan? Annette, no, they didn't. However, I was well down that path at that time. That was one of the pieces. I'd gone back and forth, either vegan or to sometimes fish, or back to vegan or to sometimes fish. I probably became even kinder and more compassionate. But that gets into a slippery slope of judgment, and I don't mean it that way at all. Because I love everybody. I love everybody, period, done deal, end of story. And let's do a little truth be told, Annette. After I was back on Maui after NDE number 2, and I was really struggling to heal, and my blood values had crashed in the hospital when they got me moving too soon. And so that's why I spent a couple months on the couch and I was a mess when I could finally be flown back to Maui. I heard that I needed to eat meat for a while, and that would help me heal, and that would help me get my red blood cell count. And that's just what I did. And I ate a lot of animal products for about a month, and then a lot less for another month or two. And I think somewhere around the third month, I was starting to be really put off by it. And I think I probably had my last bit of anything within that 6-month window. And then I'm like, no, don't want. Doesn't feel right for me. So that was just part of my healing journey. Amanda, last question of the evening. Let's dive into a real brief meditation. Can you be working on opening and taking over a year to do it every day? Writing. Oh man, it's a lifelong process, and it's a beautiful process. You can open a little bit each and every day by writing. You can open a little bit each and every day by being with yourself. You can open up a little bit each and every day by setting intention exactly for this. So now I want to dive into a very brief meditation. I definitely need to get Rue to bed here first. So bear with me 1 minute as I get Rue here to bed. Are you ready? Do you want to say goodnight to everybody? And then we're going to do a really, really short and sweet meditation. I know I promised you something, and there will be a video at the end. But looking at the time, I have to love myself up and love my family up and get myself to bed here. So hold on one second. You want to say goodnight to everybody? You've been so sweet. You've been so patient. I love you so much. You've been so sweet and patient. I know. You want to say goodnight? Yeah. I know. I know. I know. All right, let's get you to bed. All right. Be right there, everybody. Here we go. All right, everybody. Coming on back. Going to do a really, really short meditation because I have got to support the Pookie, aka Jessica. And so I want to keep this nice and short and sweet. What will we get to do here? I'm going through listening to the universe and going, where do we go for something that's incredibly short and sweet? All right, we're just going to focus on a little bit of breathing here together. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes. I'd like you to close your eyes. Breathe in through the nose, down to the belly, and out through the nose. In and out. In and out. Now, as you keep breathing in and out, I want to bring you to the beach. I wanted to bring you to your favorite beach. Even if you're not a beachy keen kind of person, there is probably somewhere along the water's edge that feels incredibly peaceful to you. I'd like you to magically appear there or bring yourself there right now, right here, right in this very moment. And as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, I'd like you to be there by the water's edge. You can hear the water lapping at the shore, or very, very gentle waves break. Maybe you can hear the water as it sounds like it's rolling off of pebbles as it goes back into the ocean, comes forward again, and goes back yet again. And as you keep breathing in and out, you find yourself naturally breathing to the pulse of the waves. Comes in, goes out. Comes in, goes out. Comes in and goes out. You sync up with the waves. You sync up with the water. And you find yourself becoming more and more relaxed. So incredibly relaxed, so at peace, so at ease. The sound of the water begins to slip away till suddenly you find yourself in pure silence. Now, this is not an uncomfortable silence. It's a silence of pure bliss. It's a silence of pure love. In fact, the longer you spend in the silence, and we'll go quiet again in here in just a moment, the more you see, even with your eyes closed, the most brilliant, beautiful, bright light you have ever seen in your life. For this is the cosmic pause, the window opening, the eye opening to the other side and to your true you. So I'd like you to take a moment, listen to the silence, see the light, and just be. Can you feel the light permeating every cell of your body? Can you feel the silence going even deeper still? And can you feel the love that is who and what you truly are? For this is you fully plugged in. This is an awakening experience. This is you feeling your true essence and knowing you come from love. You are love. You couldn't be anything other than love, even if you tried. You are the silence. You are the pause. You are the light. And you are. There's a beautiful attunement that I like to teach in the School of Mystics. I'm going to give you the attunement here, not the teaching behind it. And come join us. But I'm going to give you the attunement right here. And there's no better time than right now to use it. Am I home? Feel free to repeat after me. Am I home? Am I home? Am I home? I am home. I am home. I am home. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. This is your true home. This is who and what you truly are. And this is the magic that you are made of for your highest good and the highest good of all, or something even better. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home. So feel free to stay in this gentle state for as long as you would like. Or if you feel ready, feel free to open up your eyes and very slowly and gently come back. I send all my love your way. Certainly come join us for the School of Mystics. It's a life changer. Certainly come join us for Meek and Sisk Animal Communication on Thursday. How does it get any better than this? And certainly, join me each and every morning, dailywoohoo.com, for an attunement, for an energetic, elevating good time, disguised as a newsletter infused with pure goodness. That's dailywoohoo.com. Thank you, Aya, for running everything. Thank you, Anne, so much behind the scenes as well. Thank you, Bhavik, for doing what you do best. I love you guys so much. Thank you, universe. Thank you, angels. Thank you, Pookie. Thank you, kitties. Thank you, Rue. Thank you, Honeybear. Thank you, Miracle. Thank you, you. How does it get any better than this? Oh, yes, Amanda's mentioning community. There's a button down below if you want behind the scenes goodness. We've got our join button there where we put out every few days a behind the scenes video of Hannah, of me, of Pookie, of all of us, of Rue. That's that join button right down below, and that's what gives you the little icon right by your name there of our phoenix arriving from the ashes. I love you guys so much. How does it get any better than this? And thank you for listening tonight. This was an interesting one. I love you guys so much. All right, I gotta go help Jessica out, and I've got to get us to bed. So love you guys.
Every day there's a new horizon. Birds keep on singing, earth keeps on spinning. Time to toss any fears that rule you. Dance to vibrations, no limitations. Shine, hold the sunlight on your chest and smile. Look to the sky, let your spirit shine brightly, shine brightly. Oh, share the magic deep in your soul. The glitter around you, live your greatest truth. Catch those dreams, swimming beside you. Yours for the taking, no more just waiting.